Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
Joining us now is our second guest, as it were, Babatunde Gbadamosi, politician and gubernatorial aspirant for Lagos State. Welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, Dr.
It's good to see you.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah,
Good morning,
welcome.
sir. Thank you for joining us.
Now, I know you want to be governor of Lagos State on the platform of the ADP, African Democratic Party.
Yes, indeed.
Now, before we talk about politics, let's step back a little and talk about what you do originally. You are into real estate.
Yes.
Real estate development. Now, why do you want to abandon that? You seem to have a good operation with Amen Estate, right? That's the one you manage?
Yes.
Yeah. So why do you want to abandon all of that and go into politics?
It's not entirely abandonment. It's an extension of what I do. If you think about it, real estate development is about reformatting the environment, if you like. You know, in our case, it's a blank slate. There's nothing in Lagos. I know we like to beat our chests and, you know, pump up our reputations and say, yes, we're good. Lagos is the biggest city in Africa. It has the largest population. It has the biggest economy and so on and so forth. But do you know what? You have to actually take Lagos out of the West African context and start looking at other African cities, like as small as Kigali, as small as Accra even, Pretoria, Johannesburg, Nairobi. You know, when you start looking at the quality of life in Lagos on a per capita basis, as against all these other cities, you realize that we're actually way far behind where we ought to be as a state. So what is the solution? First of all, nurture, I believe, trumps nature in some cases. Nature is great because it gives you the basics, but then if you don't have the right nurture, then what happens is, you know, you lose all the advantages that nature may have given to you. So we haven't nurtured our environment, we haven't nurtured our state, and that's what I do. That's my job. You know, I take the environment, I make it conducive for human life, and right now Lagos is not conducive.
But isn't Lagos State already, Lagos in particular, isn't it already built up? Is the challenge more houses or bound renewal?
It's all of it. It's all of it. It's an integrated issue. I mean, if you take a look at Lagos on Google Map or on Google Earth, okay, and you go take a snapshot of Singapore on the same Google Earth, put in all the roads and everything, you realize that Lagos is actually very, very underserved as far as infrastructure goes, okay? Per square kilometer of land, Lagos has far less, maybe 20% of the road infrastructure that Singapore has, as small as Singapore is. Now, if you start talking about rail, I was watching the newspaper review segment earlier with the other gentleman, and you know, in the UK, they're having massive complaints from the rail regulator about how the rail crisis in summertime was badly managed and so on. We don't even have rail, talk less of a rail crisis, you know, and we really need to be on the ball. We're not. We dropped the ball many decades ago, about maybe 5 decades ago.
But if you leave Lagos, because that's the state you are interested in, and you look at Nigeria generally, there is a national housing crisis in Nigeria.
Yes, there is.
What do you think government should do beyond just paying lip service to building more houses or providing more houses?
Well, you know, it's in this same country that we had the Shagari administration, where the federal government of the time entered into a massive competition, especially with the Lagos state government of the time, the Jakonde administration, where there was a competition to see who could provide the most affordable housing, the largest amount of affordable housing to the people of Nigeria, and you know, specifically to the people of Lagos State. Alhaji Jakonde managed to deliver about 20,000 affordable housing units across Lagos State. And the federal government, with the Minister of Housing at the time being Dr. Wahab Dosumu, who also happened to be a Lagosian, also, you know, chipped in their bit with lots and lots of affordable housing all over Lagos State. Yes, it was not, none of it was the Ritz, but who needed the Ritz? People just needed a roof over their heads, you know, and if the homelessness situation was bad then, it is pretty horrendous now. It's really, really terrible.
Anyway, we don't have much time. Let's talk about politics.
Yes.
You come from a famous Lagos family, Lagos State family,
Yes,
from
indeed.
Ikorodu, right?
Yes, indeed.
Right, from your grandfather to your uncle and all that, the Gbadamosi family.
Yes, indeed.
Very well known. So are you running for governor because you think you have a sense of entitlement? Because you come from a big family, then it's the turn of my family. Because there are people who run, they say, oh, my father was this, my grandfather was this, it's now my turn. Is that why you want to be governor?
Absolutely not. I'm just fed up. I'm fed up of the fact that nothing works in Lagos. I'm fed up of the fact that there's no electricity. I'm fed up of the fact, I mean, look at it. I was supposed to be here at 8 o'clock this morning. I left my house a little before 6 o'clock in the Ibejuleke axis. Between Ibejuleke and here, it shouldn't take more than 1 hour and a half at the most. But I spent about 3 hours and a bit on the road
This
trying to
morning?
get here. Yeah,
Wow.
this morning. And that's because there's only one road linking the Lekki Peninsula into Victoria Land and the rest of Lagos. Now, that should not be the situation. We should have multiple means of access in and out of all the areas of Lagos. But the Badagry axis suffers the same fate. Ikorodu axis suffers the same fate. Now, can we build more roads? Yes, we can. We've been building roads in Lagos State since 1947. The first trunk A road in Nigeria was built by the people of Ikorodu. The Ikorodu Road, as we now know it, was built between 1947 and 1953. Do I feel entitled because my family has a big name and so on? Absolutely not. No. I'm just tired. I'm tired of not having electricity. I'm tired of not having water. We live in water, and yet there's no water running through the taps of ordinary Lagosians. Can we do it? Yes, we can. I've proved that at Amen Estate. I've provided electricity for the last 8 years for about 300 families consistently without interruption for the last 3 years. Water, security, good roads, drainage, all of this we've done.
I don't want you to
on a
advertise
small...
Amen
No.
Estate.
I'm just saying.
We'll give you an invoice for advertisements.
You will.
I'm just saying, without collecting taxes, a private sector organization has been able to do that, albeit on a small scale. Okay, we've not been collecting any taxes, charges, levies, rates, or any sort of monies aside from the traditional perfunctory service charges that we would normally collect from residents. Apart from all, we haven't collected all these rates, and yet we're able to provide this. So what is government doing? I don't get it. I'm nonplussed.
Okay, so besides the infrastructure, security, and water, and all of these things that you've just said, what are you going to do differently when you get elected as governor?
Well, there's this little problem that we have of human capital development. It's the elephant in the room. Okay, the civil service is messed up because people are not being paid a living wage. Not just a living wage. People are not being paid for their time. You know, you're working at Arise TV now, and you're happy because you're paid.
Yes, I'm happy I'm being
You're happy because you're being paid more than a living wage.
Okay.
You know, you're happy to get up in the morning, go to work, you know, and you're not going to be asking for brown envelopes or white envelopes or envelopes of any kind.
Okay.
Okay. Unfortunately, civil servants in Nigeria in general and in Lagos State in particular, we focus on Lagos now, are not able to afford that luxury. They go to work because it's the only thing available. It's the only sort of job security that they have. But do the wages make sense? No, they don't. And that's why you find all sorts of clogs in the system, all sorts of toll gates in the system, so to speak, okay? And the reason is because people are very badly paid. Civil servants in Lagos cannot afford to take their family on holiday just off their salaries. They can't afford to pay their own rent. They can't afford to pay their
You'll be
children's
surprised
school
to
fees.
know that many of them have children going to schools abroad.
Exactly.
So the question
I'm
is...
not surprised. I'm not surprised at that. I know that, you know, there are other ways in which they leverage the system, they game the system, so to speak. And it's the general public that suffers for it. It's our governance that suffers for it.
You were in the PDP.
Yes, I was.
Now you moved to a smaller party, the ADP,
I did.
at a time when the PDP appears to be resurrecting and luxuriating, so to speak.
At the national level, yes.
Will you not have been better off running for governor on the platform of the PDP? Why did you leave the PDP?
All politics is local. All politics is local. And in Lagos State, the PDP is dead, irregardless of what anybody says. The chairman of the PDP, you know, recently crossed over to the APC, proving my point that the APC and the PDP are one and the same party. They're not, you know, there's no substantial ideological difference between the two parties. And I came to the conclusion, after several years in the PDP, that the top leadership of the PDP are not interested in winning elections in Lagos State. And that's been proven over several election cycles since the Fourth Republic began.
Real quick, what do you think about the electoral process? Do you think it will be free and fair right
No,
now?
it will not be.
Okay.
It will not be unless, there is some kind of pressure on INEC as it's currently constituted. The situation where we have the niece of the president as an INEC, a very senior INEC commissioner, is not tenable in the very least, okay? A situation where you have the INEC chairman coming from the same zone, the same geopolitical zone as the president is not tenable. This is the first time that has ever happened. And you can already see indicators, okay, going from even the statistics of PVCs collected, the allegations by INEC that several million PVCs remain uncollected in the south and especially in Lagos State. Okay, it doesn't make sense that INEC will be saying that. I think it's quite disingenuous of them.
How do you hope to displace the APC's hold on Lagos State? I mean, the APC in Lagos seems to be entrenched in spite of their internal squabbles.
This is very
and
true.
ADP is relatively unknown.
This is very true. But I'm banking on Lagosians themselves. Okay, this is the Lagos where an Otedola was elected when it was clear that it was either going to be an Gbadamosi or a Sarami, or even for that matter, the Yomi Edu that emerged out of that crisis. But guess what? Lagos State elected a majority SDP House of Assembly and elected an NRC governor. That happened in Lagos. So I'm banking on the quirkiness of Lagos politics, the historical quirkiness of Lagos politics, and the political sophistication of the people of Lagos to get us into office.
At a time when you have a godfather,
I don't have a godfather.
Who is in charge? No, I'm not saying you have a godfather. I'm saying that there is a godfather of politics in Lagos State. Everyone acknowledges it. Persons who have appeared on this program, they say it. You think, what's your strategy to reach out to the people for them to be able to say, you will do better than Ambode or whoever?
That's one of the reasons why I'm here. You know, the people of Lagos, I want to tell you this.
Okay.
For all of the governors that have been in charge, especially since 2007, there has always been a monkey on their back, okay? And this is a figure of speech, by the way. This is not for those who might want to take it the wrong way. It's a figure of speech. There's been a monkey on the backs of the two governors that have been in charge since 2007. I don't have a godfather. I don't have anybody that I'm going to be giving returns to. Every penny of your taxes will be spent on you, not on anybody else, not on any schemes in Dubai, not on any political schemes to become a godfather anywhere. We need to take Lagos out of the 18th century into the 21st century, and only you can make that happen.
All right,
Your statement is loaded with innuendos.
Yes,
You
but
are
I
talking
think,
about making returns. Making returns to who? You don't have to answer it.
yes, we're going to end on that. We're going to end
Okay,
on that.
that's fine.
It was such a pleasure to have you here. I wish we had more time. I'm hoping that we'll have you come back so we can talk more on Lagos
It's been
politics.
a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.